But man, we're in this series and we're almost done with it. We got this week and next week in this series called Hooked. And throughout this series, we've been talking about what it means to be a follower of Christ and to be what he said we should be, which is fishers of men. And so one of the big topics we talked about last week is the fact that temptation happens to all of us. We are all tempted. Every single one of us faces temptation. Jesus himself faced temptation. We are not exempt of that. We are going to face temptation as well. But one of the things that we learned is that there's a difference between temptation and testing. We learned that God will test us or allow us to be tested in order to make us stronger, while the enemy will tempt us to make us do wrong. So God will test us to make us strong, and the enemy will tempt us to make us do wrong. And so I think in navigating this, we have to understand that number one is the case. We have to know what we're getting into. Are we in a season where God is testing us, or are we just simply giving into temptation? And so I wanted to look at some different types of temptation that we face and that we deal with, and the things that we encounter. So as I've been telling you guys this whole series, I'm not what you would call a fisherman, someone who fishes, like who knows what they're doing. I am someone who likes the idea of fishing. I like the concept of it, and I actually enjoy the act of it as well, as long as I'm not really like responsible for the whole thing. Like I'm good with fishing if there's a real adult with me who knows what they're doing with fishing. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to like have a fishing pole. Someone else can like do all the stuff to it. I can maybe hook a lure on there, but I don't trust the hooks scare me out. I know myself I'm gonna end up hurting me or someone else. So it's like, I like to cast it out, right? Because I played baseball growing up, and so like it just feels good to just like cast something out there really far. I don't know, it's just a good feeling. And then to reel it in is cool. If you get a fish, that's awesome. You get it, that's fun too. And then someone needs to go ahead and take care of the rest of it after the fish is out of the water. Like I'm good with that, right? So I enjoy fishing, but what's been really cool is I've been studying and researching and talking to a lot of my good fishermen and fisherwomen friends during the series and learning a lot about fishing and doing some research. And so I found that there are several different types of temptation that we deal with. So I brought out some lures to kind of represent some of these different temptations that we face. Now this little guy, this is called a rat lure, all right? This is a little rat lure. This is some bass fishing lures that I brought with us today. And what's really cool is it's actually making me want to go fishing like really bad. Like having this little thing, I'm like, this is really cool. I want to go fishing for some bass. I don't know how to do that, but I feel like I have what I need now. So someone take me fishing. And so this is called a rat lure. It looks like a little mouse. Look at that. I did not know that fish will eat mice and rats and stuff, but apparently they do. They like them some protein. So they're like, man, this is a good little treat, good little snack here. And so this rat represents our enemy. This rat represents the devil. And what we got to realize is that you can't just get caught up looking at the lure and the bait. We have to learn to look past the bait and to the results. See, that's the difference between being tempted and being tested. When we can look past the lure, we can look past the bait, look past the temptation into the results, and it doesn't make as much sense. It's easy to look at something and say, that's enticing. That looks good. That looks like it might be good for me. I want this. And so we find ourselves fighting the desire of temptation instead of looking past it into the results and saying, you know what? It doesn't matter if that's going to be good because I know what it's going to lead me to. And then we find when we begin to do that, we begin to even look at God differently. We begin to say, you know what? It's not even about my willpower and trying to do what's right. It's not even about trying to be good for God. It's about realizing the results of following Him are so much greater than not. I don't have to try anymore to be good because I want what God has for me. So you have to learn to look past the temptation. Now this is a fun one. This is one of my favorite ones. And I'll have to look at these to see where the hooks are because I'm like, oh my God, I'm really nervous. I'm like, I'm gonna cut myself. Is anybody a nurse? Do you have a nurse or a doctor? But just in case, just in case. All right, so this is what we call a scum frog. This little guy is pretty cool because you throw it out where the scum is, and stuff like that. And the way the hooks are, I guess it doesn't really get caught up too easy, so it can hang out there. And it looks like a little froggy. It's like, right? And so the little fish see this, and they're like, oh, this is awesome. And they like the little treat here. And this represents our relationships. Where are we hanging out? If we're hanging out with scum, then we're going to get hooked. That's where the bait is being cast out. Remember last week we realized and we learned that the enemy will cast accurately. He looks at how he can catch every single one of us particularly. He'll look at what's gonna trip this person up. It might be different than that person, so let me find something specific to them. So when we're in the wrong environment, we are being fished for. We learned that last week. We are being fished for, every single one of us. We're being fished by God, trying to be brought into life, and we're being fished by an enemy trying to bring us from life to death. And so this little scum frog is like our relationships. You know, what are we doing? Who are we hanging out with? Where are we at? And it's not to talk bad or down to other people, like you're better than other people, because you're not. But your environment is important. And so if you're always surrounding yourself with people who are willfully living and giving into temptations in their life, then you need to know and recognize that you're probably going to be caught up with the same stuff. Like if all the people that you spend your time with have a certain issue, you are probably going to develop that issue as well. Right? Like you're going to gain that lifestyle that they have because that's where you are, that's your environment, and that is what is being cast out there. Their enemy is casting out into our relationships, trying to see if he can trip us up in that. Now this one's awesome. Not only because it's cool and it's flashy, it's got a cool song and something. Listen here, I can probably hook it in there. On accident possibly. But this is called, this one is awesome because the name is awesome. This is called the Terminator Spinnerbait. Terminator. That's awesome. That's just an awesome name. Like I just think that's cool. Like whoever came up with that, like deserves a prize or something. But this just makes me feel cool fishing. Because I'm like, dude, I'm fishing with the Terminator right now. This fish don't stand a chance. Like I'm about to terminate you, right? But it's cool. It's like it's flashy. It's got some little sparkle. It's got gold, metallic. It's got this little what they call a skirt. This little skirt right here, little pretty little thing. Kind of hides the hook. You can't really see it. It kind of protects it from the weeds a little bit, and then it kind of hides it so the fish just see the attractive little skirt there. This represents lust. Right? This is the one that gets a lot of people. That skirt is what trips up a lot of people. And what's tough about this one is when you get hooked, you can't just shake it off anymore. You can't shake it away after you've already been hooked, after you've already been trapped, after you've already kind of taken a bite. And sometimes we look at this stuff and think, well, it's not a big deal. I'm just kind of checking stuff out, and you know, it's not even just doing wrong, but it's that mindset. Like, what are we looking for in a relationship? What are we looking for in people? What are we looking for to fulfill us, to make us feel whole, to make us feel worthy, to give us a sense of value? What are we looking for? Something that's going to actually give life and value, or something that's really just going to possibly satisfy for a moment but destruct? See, the collateral damage from this is so much worse. It looks good for a moment, and we think that we're not hurting anyone else, and we think that we're not affecting anyone but ourselves, but we are. The collateral damage from that is what really gets you. This is the Terminator, and it terminates relationships, it terminates feelings, it terminates self-worth and value. It does so much damage. It's one that we have to stay away from. It's one that we have to learn to not give in to the temptation, but to learn that we can be stronger if we can endure through it. So that's the Terminator right there. That one's pretty dope. This one's pretty cool. This one is scaring me because it's just got like little hooks. I'm like, this shouldn't be right. You should not let Steveo play with this thing, but they do. But this is called the Rebel Pop R. The Rebel. It's a little rebel. It's cool. Like I look at this one and I think this is like classic fish lore, right? It just looks like, if you Google fish lore, like this is the picture. It's like the universal, like it just looks like it's been around for centuries and centuries and decades, because that's how we're. All right, so I'm just like the rebel. This represents rebellion. Rebellion is an age-old sin. Rebellion is one of probably the oldest temptation known to mankind. Now, growing up, I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up as a pastor's kid. My dad's a preacher. He is probably preaching a message right now somewhere up in North Houston. And so, somewhere, like, I don't know. I know exactly where he is. I just don't want to give full directions. And so he's somewhere in Texas. Like, I don't anymore. No, I know where my dad is. But anyway, he used to always tell me growing up, he would always say these little sayings. Like, he had like these really cool little, like, Christian preacher daddy sayings. I'm just going to fish with this if y'all like. That's cool. I like the sound. You hear that? It's got a little rattle there. It's attractive. Makes a lot of noise. Makes people think, makes some fish think there's something going on over here. Maybe this talk, what's happening is some good stuff, right? So they come and check it out. But see, my dad would always say, rebellion, that's a sin, is witchcraft. Right? You ever hear that? You know, because like in the Bible it talks about that. And I would be like, okay, I get it, Dad, but I feel like you're just trying to like tell me how much I should obey you, right? And I was not a rebellious kid. Like, I wasn't. Like, there's some other people in my family, I'm not going to name names, but some of them kind of, you know, got the little rebel pop art going on. But I wasn't a rebellious kid, but we still got the little, like, hey, you don't disobey because rebellion, but don't be rebellious. That's, sin is witchcraft. And I'm like, okay, witchcraft? Really, Dad? Witchcraft? I mean, I get it that it's bad, and I get it that God doesn't want me to rebel against you and wants me to obey authority, but come on, witchcraft, like, because I think of that and I'm thinking like, bones and skeletons and voodoo and spells, and I'm like, that's just silly, come on, I'm not doing that. But here's what I learned, why it says that and what it means, because when we are in rebellion, we are more like the evil one than any other time. When we are living in rebellion against authority, a rebellion against God, we are more like the devil, more like the evil one than we are at any other time, because that is the root of what started sin altogether. It was a rebellious attitude towards God. It was Lucifer being rebellious to God because of his pride, and that's what started the whole downfall of mankind. So when we act rebellious, we are as far away from being like Christ as we possibly can be. And that's why it's so dangerous. And they start off as little stuff like, well, I'm not like full on rebellious, but like I do like to do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, mom and dad or my boss, wants to say, this isn't a kid thing. Like, it's not just a teenage thing. Like, I was a youth pastor for a lot of years. And, that's one of the things you always talk about, be respectful of your parents. But, like, we learn it at that age, but it continues with us as we become adults. There's probably way more adults out there who are more rebellious than there are teenagers. I mean, it's just because we learn that behavior, and then it, like, takes root, and it just, like, builds a foundation, and now we just can't listen to anyone. And we can't take advice from anyone. And we can't be told anything by anyone or submit in any way to anyone because we have all the answers. And we know what's right? So that rebellious attitude is a dangerous one because it makes us as far away as Christ-like as we can possibly be. So we got to be careful for that one, not to get caught up. Now this one's cool. It's just a cool looking, and it's got like 3 hooks. That's dangerous right there. That's like, you go anywhere near this thing and you're going to get hooked. Right? Like there's no like I kind of took a little bite and I missed it. No, like if you like try chomping on this bad boy, you're gonna get a hook all up in your mouth and it's gonna hurt. Right? And this one's cool because it swims like this. It goes like upright, right? Right? So it's got these little propellers that kind of go along the water. But this is called the devil's horse. I mean, come on, how much more perfect can that? I mean, fishermen are awesome. These names they come up with, man, they're just like, they must be preachers or something. They just knew this was going to happen. But this is legit called the devil's horse. I didn't make that up. This is what this is called. And what's cool about this one, well, not cool about it, but like I mentioned, it's got a bunch of hooks. So it's cool if you're fishing, but not so cool if you're a fish. And what this represents is gossip. This takes us to a place, and the reason why I think it's just like gossip is because it has so many hooks on it. And it does make a lot of noise, when it's in the water, so that's what kind of attracts the fish on there. But, with gossip, it's a dangerous thing because there's no good that comes from it. And it doesn't matter how little you partake, or maybe you're just taking a little nibble here, a little nibble there, you're going to get hooked. Like, no matter what you do, you're going to get hit with it. And the thing about gossip is when we allow ourselves to be tempted by, and come on, let's be honest, it's tempting to gossip. Like, even for a dude, it can be tempting at times to gossip because it's like so easy to start talking because we all want to know what's going on, right? Like, we want to know what's happening in the world around us, especially with the people that we know, and especially with the people that we kind of don't like. Like, we want to know what's going on in their life as long as it's not good stuff. And so, like, gossip is tough because it's so easy to be like, get yourself caught up in those conversations, and all of a sudden you start thinking like, ooh, that was kind of ugly. We just said some nasty stuff, and maybe you didn't even partake in it. Maybe you didn't join in a whole lot, but you were kind of there like, oh, for real? Dang, wow, oh, dang, I didn't know that, wow. Wait, don't worry. Listen, if you have to tell someone, like, hey, don't tell anybody this. There's about a 99.99% chance that you probably shouldn't say it at all, right? If you have to tell the person, like, don't say anything to it, because this is what we're doing. Now, I understand sometimes there's information, it's like, this is sensitive info, and people can't have it. You're not talking bad about people. I get it. But a lot of times, we're just gossiping. We just want to know what's going on. We just want to know, like, what other people have going on, or we want to make ourselves feel better, so we kind of enter these conversations and we get caught up, and if we're not careful, that becomes a lifestyle. If we're not careful, relationships can be formed around gossip. That's what we do. We get together and we just talk about people, and the only thing we have in common is the fact that we like to talk bad about others, just make us feel a little bit better. But the danger with that is it puts us and takes us to a place where we can be used by the enemy to hurt others. We're being used and played so that we can harm other people, not just ourselves. So that's not something God wants us to partake in. Now this is the boss right here. This is Dad right here. This is cool. This is not only cool because it's a fish. I mean, that's just awesome. Like, catching a fish with a fish. It's not even real. That's just cool to me. But also because I like the name. This is called the Hardcore Ninja Swimmer. Some other versions of this are called the Silent Swimmer. But come on, how bad is that? The Hardcore Ninja Swimmer. I love ninjas, man. I was born to be a ninja. Growing up, I was Snake Eyes. You know what I'm talking about? G.I. Joe? That's what's up. 80s kid. Right? And so, like, ninjas are just awesome. But it's just silent. It just kind of swoops in, and then, boom! Fish gets it. Big old hooks it in. There's no getting away from that. And just another side note to this, what makes this awesome is if you're like me and you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of rewarding just to like throw it out, even if you don't catch anything. When he comes back up, it's like, oh, I got a little fish, right? And it's like you still feel like you have something. These people around you far away, like, oh, well, they're kind of little one. Like, I'll use that as bait. You're gonna be hooking. It's all plastic. But this is really cool. It's a silent swimmer. This represents pride. And then, the Bible says that pride comes before the fall. And we referred to that just earlier about the enemy, how his pride led to rebellion, which begat the fall of him and all of us as well. But that's what happens. Pride just kind of sneaks in. It's a silent little temptation. It's easy to get prideful. We get prideful, we become defensive. We get prideful, we become, because of our pride, we allow ourselves to give in to temptation because we feel like we deserve what those are offering us. We feel like we're better. We feel like we're too good to be looked down on. We feel like we're too good to make changes in our life. Sometimes your pride will cause you to not change things that you know you're supposed to change just because you're too prideful to admit you were doing something wrong in the first place. And so it just builds up and more and more and more sin is happening. So there's a lot of different types of temptation that come at us, and I think these are some of the root issues. But listen, there is a good side to this, and there is an upside to it. We can't escape temptation, but we do need to learn how to face it. And so in facing it, we look at James. If you have a Bible, you can open it up, or you can look at the screen, or use your phone. But we're going to be in James chapter 1 pretty much the rest of our time here. And James 1:2 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds." So we're not to be afraid of temptation. We're not to be afraid of the enemy. We're not to be afraid of it. We should consider it joy that we are being tested and we have an opportunity to overcome temptation. So there's a few things that we need to do. Number one, we need to learn to engage. Evaluate the testing. We engage. We don't run from it, but we realize, listen, when I don't take the bait, when I don't give in to temptation, the trials and things that I'm going through make me stronger. See, because when you're struggling, when you're going through things in life, or when you're in a tough season, that's when we're being tempted and tested. When Jesus was fasting, he was going through a difficult season because of that fasting. He was pushing forward and trying to become even closer with God and hear him even better. That's when the enemy came in to attack and to test and to tempt him. And by not getting caught up and not giving in to the temptations, when we grow and become stronger. So we have to learn to engage and say, you know what, God? I don't need to be afraid. I understand there's temptations around me, but I also understand that you are giving me a way out, and you are giving me a way to endure this. You're giving me a way to come out stronger at the other end of this. So I just need to know what your word says, God. I just need to know who you say I am, so I don't become what my temptations are trying to say that I am. So we engage. Second, we endure. Listen, God wants to build endurance in your life. You can do more if you can endure more. That's with our physical bodies, that's with our spiritual bodies, with our emotional selves. It's everything. You can do more if you can endure more. The more you can handle, the more you can accomplish. And God wants to build endurance in your life. He wants to build endurance in your spiritual walk. He wants to build endurance in your emotions. That's why sometimes you feel like you're going through stuff emotionally. You're like, I can't handle this. Listen, if you let that stuff go and you give it to God, he's building endurance in you. Say, you know what? You can. You can rely on me. You can learn to not allow your emotions to control you, but you can learn to rest and have peace in me by trusting in me more than your circumstances, more than your emotions are telling you. So we're building endurance. God wants us to endure. James 1:3 says, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. See, faith isn't really faith until it's tested. Anyone can have faith when everything's working out. It's when we go through hard times and we realize, okay, God, I'm really having to have faith and trust in you. Like, that's real faith. He wants to build endurance in us. He wants our faith to grow and to be stronger so that we can endure more, so we can accomplish more. Third, we have to learn to enlarge. Enlarge our sphere of influence. Enlarge our ability to fish for men. Enlarge our ability to be examples. We have an option. We can allow their temptations to enlarge sin's footprint in our life, or we can allow the testing of God to enlarge our strength and trust in him, enlarge our abilities and our sphere of influence around those around us. We have to learn to do that. We have to learn to not give in to temptation, but to see what God is doing in us and through us. And that testing is a part of maturity, and it's a part of growth. Either sin can take place and grow in our lives, or our faith and our perseverance can take root and grow in our lives. And it depends on how we approach the testings and the temptations. Do we give in, or do we engage and see what God is doing? Do we endure through the test, through the difficult times, to see the growth happen, the maturity happen in us? James 1:4 says, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Listen, ask God. When you're in a time of testing, when you're in a trial, when you're facing temptation, that's the time to start talking to God. That's the time to start asking God for wisdom. When you're being tested and tempted to make bad decisions, don't give in and say, I just can't handle it. I can't help myself. Every time I'm given this opportunity, I give in. Every time, and we start asking and hoping that we become stronger in our will instead of asking God to give us endurance, to give us strength. Ask God to give us wisdom. Ask God to give us guidance. If we'll ask him, he's there to give. He's faithful to be there for us when we ask him. So don't hide from God when you're struggling in temptation. Don't hide from God when you're going through difficult times. Don't hide from God when you're scared and you're worried and you're doubting. Sometimes we have doubt. Sometimes we struggle with misbelief and unbelief, and we struggle with trusting God, and so we hide because we think that God only wants to be around us when we're full of faith and courage. But God wants to be there when you're broken. God wants to be there when you're low. God wants to be there when you're 100% unsure of everything. God wants to be there. Don't run from Him in those situations. That's when you cry out to Him and say, God, I need you. I don't even know. God, I don't even know if you're real right now. God, I don't even know if you hear me or you care. But if you do, I need you right now. I need you to step into this situation. I need you to give me courage. I need you to give me peace. I need you to give me sanity. It doesn't matter what you're dealing with. Cry out to God and ask Him. He is faithful to give generously to all of us without finding fault. He's not going to blame you and say, well, you should have been better. You should have been smarter. Maybe you made a mistake and now you're in a bad situation because of it. Well, ask God for help. He's not going to look at you and judge and be like, oh, that's your fault. He's not like that. He's not like that at all. He's there always to help us. He's there always to give to us all that we ask Him. Not because of our faithfulness, but because of His faithfulness. So there's just a few things that I think we need to have to get through these temptations, to keep us focused on the result and not the test and the temptation in front of us. How do we do that? It's simple. Number one, we have to have what I like to call God-centration. That's right, I just made up a word, but I can do that. God-centration. That's when we concentrate on the things of God. That's when we look at what God has given us. That's when we ask Him for wisdom. We look past the temptation to the results. I'll give you an example. I discovered somewhat recently after I married my wife. Well, she wasn't my wife when I married her. I married her, she became my wife. So I guess that's how that works. But after being married for a little while, my wonderful, wonderful wife introduced me to this thing called lactose intolerance. I didn't know what that was because I don't know if this is just a Mexican thing or what, but I never heard of that before in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like growing up, you just hey, no, your stomach hurt, like whatever, just go to the bathroom. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't go to the doctor for stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we just handled life. So I didn't know. I thought it was normal to like drink milk or eat ice cream and then be in pain later for it. You know what I mean? I just felt like that's just what happens for when you eat ice cream. But later on, after being married for a few years, my wife's like, Steven, you're probably lactose intolerant. And I was like, baby, come on. What does that mean? And so she had to explain to me, and I was like, babe, what is lactose? Right? So I didn't know. So she had to explain, and she kept bugging me, and then finally she was like, look, I bought almond milk. I was like, honey, how do you get milk out of an almond? Come on, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't get it. But she was like, just try it. I'm like, is it gonna taste like almonds? And she's like, would you like almonds? I was like, well, yeah, but the milk is what scared me. So anyway, so finally I tried it, and I was like, oh, this is fine, this is good, whatever. So then I got this like routine of like, okay, I was doing this. I was just drinking almond milk and stuff, and not drinking milk and that, not having the ice cream and all that. And I felt good. I was just like, wow, I feel better. I don't know what's going on. I just feel like a better me. And then one day, my lovely wife decided to bring home this buttermilk pie. Well, I didn't know whether it was buttermilk pie. I didn't know what it was. It was just pie to me, and it looked good. So I ate like 3/4 of it. And then later, I was just like, oh my God! I thought I was dying. I was like crawling right through the house. I couldn't even walk. It was terrible. And my wife was like, what happened? I was like, I don't know. She's like, what'd you eat? I was like, well, I ate that pie. She's like, oh my God, it's buttermilk pie. I was like, well, is there milk in it? She's like, buttermilk! And I was like, okay, I get it. And so like I learned my lesson to not do that. But and that was years ago. And so since then I've been really good about not, having milk or buttermilk pie, things like that. But then I found out that they make these little like lactate pill things that you can eat, and you chew them and they just kind of taste like chalk, which is strangely satisfying. And then you're supposed to be able to eat this kind of stuff. So I'm like, maybe this isn't so bad at all. But it still scares me, so I don't really test it or push it, right? But the other day, I was at my sister's house because our little girl was in Houston and she had some surgery on her leg. And so we're staying over there with our family, and they had a lot of ice cream. And everyone was eating ice cream. And I'm just sitting there, and I remembered, and I brought my little lactate pill things just in case, you know, and some shells and cheese or something. And so I was like looking around out at that ice cream, and I was just like, I mean, it looks good. They've got cherries in the fridge. They've got like the magic shell stuff. You know, I'm talking about the chocolate stuff. You have to shake for 30 minutes, and then you pour it out, and it's dry. I was just like, man, this looks good. And you know, I wanted it. I was looking at the ice cream. And I thought, I can do this. I can handle this. I'm a man. But I've got an iron stomach, boy. Come on. You know, toughen up. And plus I got lactate pills. Come on, I can handle this. And so I made a big old bowl of ice cream. I mean, just scoops on scoops on scoops. You know, I think I had like 2 different ice creams. I was just putting it in there. And the chocolate and the cherries all over it. And I ate that. Oh man, I ate that. I was just eating that. And I was just going at it, and then later on, I was just like, oh my God, it hurts a little bit. I mean, I think the stuff helped, but it still wasn't like that great. So like the next day, I just didn't feel good, right? I didn't have much of an appetite because like food, I was just kind of like, oh, you know. And so I was like, why did you eat that stuff? And I was like, I don't know. But I was looking at I was looking at the temptation. I wasn't looking past it to the results. Like you gotta learn to use our God-centration to keep us focused on the results and not the temptations ahead of us. We have to look at what's going to happen if I give in. What's going to happen if I go down this path? Not what's going to happen in the midst of it, but what's going to happen from it. So we have to learn to look past the temptation and look to the results. James 1:14 says, but each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire to drink milk and enticed. Verse 15, then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it's full grown, gives birth to death. See, this is the life cycle. Temptation is just the beginning. Temptation is just the start of the destruction the enemy wants to have in our lives. It's not about like, oh, I just have a little this here, a little that there. Oh, you know, I'm prideful, whatever. I'm a proud man. I'm proud to be proud. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just stack it on top of you. Or you know, we talk a little bit here and there. It's like, it's just harmless. God. Like, it leads to sin. It grows in maturity. Just like our faith can grow in maturity, sin can grow in maturity as well. And we've learned, like we've been saying this whole series, when the enemy fishes, he brings us from life to death. He introduces sin and brings things that are alive to death and destruction. God wants to do the opposite. He wants to take us from a point of death to life, both eternally, but also in our everyday lives, in our finances, in our relationships, in our strength, in our courage, in our faith, in our emotions. He wants to bring us to having more life. So we got to look at that. Second, we have to understand the consequences. We said it last week. We can choose our choices, but we cannot choose the consequences. So understand that temptation has consequences. Also understand that enduring the test has consequences. When we allow God to push us through those times, we see the goodness that He has for us start to grow in our lives. We see the peace there is in trusting Him. We see the love that we have in keeping ourselves pure in Him. James 1:16 says, don't be deceived, my brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. We understand, we can look past, because God has good things that He wants to give us. Every good thing in our life comes from Him. So for me, it's not even about trying to endure and trying to not give in to temptation. It's like, sure, there's a part of me that wants the temptation, but there's a part of me that wants God more. Like, all of us have a desire to want things of the world. But as we begin to understand who God is, we begin to understand, you know what? I want His life even more. Sure, I want to engage in the sinful areas here and here and here. I'm a human being. We all have an inclination to do that, but I now know who God is and what He has for me, so I want the things of God even more than these. I want His peace even more than I want my own ability to control a situation. I want His endurance and His strength more than I want the ease of giving into temptation. See, we begin to understand that there's consequences, good and bad, and God wants to bring life to us. And third, we have to get rid of all contraband. Right? Contraband is anything that bans God's best for your life. You know, there's so many things as Christians that I think we waste time debating if it's okay or not okay. Well, is it okay for a Christian to do this? Is it okay for a Christian to do that? Listen, there's some things that the Bible is very clear on, and we can very confidently say, this is sin. And there's some things where we have to look and say, how does this affect me? We have to run that through the filter of, is this banning God's best for my life? Because for you, there may be some things that don't seem all that bad or evil, but they are blocking God's best for your life. And if that's the case, you've got to get rid of it. You can't hold on to things that come between you and God. You can't hold on to things. You can't hold on to people. You can't hold on to situations. You can't hold on to things that ban what God wants to give you. If I have to choose what I can have and what God wants for me, I want to choose what God wants for me. I want to choose what God has for me. I want to choose what He has in His hand over what's in my hand. Because I know His hands are bigger. I know that His hands are better. I know that He loves me more than I even love myself. Because I do things that are self-destructive, and He only does things to bring me hope and peace and love. Come on, we got to get rid of stuff that is blocking God's best for our lives. And you know what that, only you know what that is. That comes from you spending time with God, saying, God, is this what you want from me? Tell me. I'm willing to accept your answer. Tell me. There might be some relationships you got to stop feeding life into. There might be some actions, some hobbies, it might even be a way of thinking or a way that you act. You got to say, you know what? Maybe it's just a busyness. We got to say, you know what? I can't be so busy that I can't be who God wants me to be for my family, for my friends. Like, whatever it is in our lives, we have to be willing to get rid of it if it's blocking God's best for our life. So as we close, I want to ask you a few questions. These questions are going to help us realize if we are enduring the tests and the trials, or if we're simply giving in to temptation after temptation. Are we setting ourselves up for failure? Or are we setting ourselves up to endure and grow in maturity in Christ? So first I'll ask you is, where are you swimming? Where are you swimming? Are you hanging out? Are you hanging out with the scum? Are you swimming in an environment where there's nothing but filth? Is that your everyday environment? Where are you swimming? Sharks swim with sharks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know who God has created you to be. God's created you to be above and beyond. God's created you to be great. God's created you to be an example and a light for Him. We're the salt of the earth. We're a light on a hill. We're supposed to be fishers of men, bringing life to hurting people. So where are we swimming? Are we swimming with swimmers? Or are we hanging out, catching a tan on a lily pad in a pond of scum? Where are we swimming? And that goes along with who we're swimming with. Look, strong swimmers make you a stronger swimmer. So are you staying in the kiddie pool, or are you pushing yourself a little further? Coming this far, we're going to start journey groups. And what that is all about is about building community amongst believers, giving ourselves accountability and people to be there and help us and encourage us, iron sharpening iron. People to be around you to lift you up and say, hey, it's okay, man. Like, listen, we all struggle with this stuff. We all deal with this stuff. Parenting is not easy. Being married is not easy, except for Tara. Like, it's not easy doing that stuff. So, like, we're going to be there to encourage each other, to strengthen each other, help us build strength, help us swim better, help us be better. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you swimming with? There's how you swim in. How you live in your life. Are you reflecting Jesus through your actions? Are you reflecting Jesus through your thoughts? What's your thought life like? Listen, it's hard to think wrong thoughts when you're reading God's Word. It's hard to sin and give in to temptation when you're filling yourself with the Word of God. How are you living? How are you swimming? Is God's Word constantly filling you? Because that begins to renew your mind. It begins to change the way you think. So when you see temptation, it looks different to you now. You don't see the Lord. You don't see the flash. You see the hook. You don't see the shininess. You see the thrashing. You see the collateral damage. Because this isn't good to you. When you see God's goodness, this doesn't look good anymore. You realize that's just like a wannabe fit. That doesn't even look like love. That's crazy. That's like a perverted version. That's not real. I know what real love is because God's shown it to me. The more time we spend in His presence, the more time we spend in His Word, the more we begin to see things the way He intended us to see them. And this doesn't even look good to us anymore. You don't have a taste for it anymore. The more you fill yourself with God's Word. And last is, when do we swim? How often are we working out? How often are we allowing God to build endurance in us? How often are we engaging? How often are we in our Word and in worship? How often do we come together and gather as a body of Christ? Is it just a religious act, or is it a part of our life? Is God the center of your life? As we kind of wrap up this portion, these last couple weeks, we've been talking a lot about temptations. And it's an important thing, but here's why it's so important. Temptation's not about making us victims. God doesn't want us to be scared because we're being attacked. He wants us to realize that He's even using what the enemy would use to destroy us to make us victors. We're supposed to have a life. God will bring life and victory even through the temptation that the enemy throws at you. If you'll learn to see it through His eyes. If you'll learn to see it His way. If you'll learn to endure through it and not just give into it. That's how we can find life and true victory in all areas of our lives. Let's pray. Father, we thank You. We thank You for not even allowing ourselves to come between us and You. God, and even when we mess up, we can still turn to You. We can still run to You. We can still ask You for anything, forgiveness. We can ask You for peace. We can ask You for hope. And God, I just ask that You would begin to show all of us what that next step is for us. God, help us to see the results and not just the temptations ahead of us. God, help us to see things the way You see them. And help us to trust You more than our instincts, more than our desires, more than our own wisdom. God, help us to place our trust in You. Maybe you're here today and you're watching or listening to this and you'd say, you know what, I live a life basically just temptation after temptation. And I quit fighting it because I don't see a better option. But I'm ready to make a change. I'm tired of my pride keeping me in the same place in life. I'm tired of seeing the destructive results of my actions and my choices. I'm ready to choose life. If that's you, I want to pray a very simple prayer with you. Just so you can know that right now you're making the most important choice in your life. That regardless of what your choices were in the past, Today, you're choosing life. You can say, Jesus, I know that I'm a sinner. I know I'm not perfect. I know I made a lot of mistakes. But I believe that you died on the cross. I believe you did that to pay for my sin, to give me hope, to give me life. Jesus, I ask you to forgive me. I ask you to clean out my heart, clean out my life, and fill me with your presence. Fill me with your love. And Jesus, I may not always be perfect, and I may make mistakes, but help me to keep following you. Help me to keep trusting in you. Help me to grow and become a fisher of men. Lord, help all of us to go to that next step and bring life to a hurting and dying world. God, we thank you for your grace and your goodness, your faithfulness, and your love that you have for us. In Jesus' name, amen.